Oh, we are talking about it already.
Yeah, we're live now. Wiz are playing Brooklyn right now. We can't talk about the score.
Nope, because I'll watch it afterwards.
Stoner is going to watch it afterwards. So I won't tell him how close the score is as I pulled it up already.
Well, I mean, it's only been...
I got my 5.
Still the first quarter.
Got my 5.
We're live now. Completed his prep work for today's podcast.
I was in my zone. I was in the zone. I was
24 before we actually we start here.
Remember, I was asking if you guys were going to go to a game for the Wizards, and both of you were just like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Wouldn't tonight, assuming or if Kevin Durant was playing, wouldn't this be a great game to go to with Durant, Irving,
of course,
Harden?
Yeah.
I imagine for a lot of people here in the DMV that you would love to go see Durant. He's a hometown kid.
Wouldn't that be cool? And imagine you be a Nets fan. This would be a chance if KD was healthy to see your big three play together, and that doesn't happen in Brooklyn that often. So
yeah, that's right.
That would be exciting for them too.
And Irving gets to play. Kyrie gets to play on the road because they have to figure out the mandates for each city or whatever.
He's a special player, man. He gets special privileges.
Well, I don't think he does. I think he just happens to, in this particular city, he's able to play. There are other cities he's not able to play. But this one,
it all depends on
so weird.
The health and safety standards per
city.
He's a part-time NBA player. You ever heard of that? Yeah. What do you do for a living? Yeah. I play for NBA part-time. What?
I'm a part-time professional NBA player. Cool. Whatever that means. Well, we are part-time content creators. We're going to be talking here all about the Washington football team, plus the NFL playoffs coming up here on Ref the District.
I'm a pretty bad kid.
Yeah, let's talk about the bigger picture. Let's talk about how we be ballin', playing with the Wizards. Let's talk about the Nets and how they always got good pitches. Let's talk about the cats on rest, turn them boys to winners. Injuries and updates, oh yeah. To the opponent, we stand toe to toe, yeah. To the top, this podcast gonna go, yeah. I think it's something you should know, yeah.
Greetings and salutations. Welcome to Ref the District. I'm Nathan Perry. Joining me, as always, my co-hosts, we have Trev and Stoner. And this is our flagship program this is our actual podcast. So we stream this live on Wednesdays, and it will go out to all your favorite podcast platforms. But we always ask that you go out to our YouTube and subscribe to that channel. We already have a few people in the chat. Going to shout out to Hey P-Dub. What's up, guys? Hail to the Washington football team. Really looking forward to seeing what the name is going to be here in just a week. And it's 2 weeks now. It's exactly 2 weeks. 2 weeks from today, we will know what the name is going to be. We stream live every Wednesday, 7:30 on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. And then, like I said, it'll go out on the audio platforms. We're brought to you by Skybar, coming super soon. Super soon to Lexington, Virginia, where you can see our man Trev in person.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go, Trev.
As we get,
I'm in go mode now, baby.
Once we get closer to the actual opening, you will absolutely know, and we'll make sure everyone's invited. We're gonna make sure you get personally invited by Ref the District to head out there. We're also sponsored by Pacers Running. For every run, you set up those personal goals this year to get healthy. Stoner's doing a diet. He's trying to get healthy. I'm just, living life and trying to maybe drink a little bit less. But Pacers Running is going to make sure that you get healthy. So go check them out. They'll get you in the right shoes to make sure that you hit those goals that you've set for yourself this year. Gentlemen, we will be talking about the Washington football team off-season priorities during the game. We'll cool down with the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. But let's talk about this super wild card round that we just finished. A little not so super, right? A little disappointing as far as the games are concerned. How many of them did you really find interesting? We streamed the Dallas-San Francisco game, which was one of the closer games out of the weekend. And even that game was just kind of a dud.
Yeah, they were all.
It was.
pretty
They were
much.
boring, but the end of that game, I tell you what,
Got a little exciting.
that was the most exciting part of the game, other than the fact the Cowboys losing the entire time. But yeah, that was the most exciting part of the game. The most interesting game. Oh, go ahead.
The Raiders and Bengals, that was a good game. That was the first game of the weekend.
Yes.
And that came down to Derek Carr throwing a pick with no time left.
At like the 1 yard line. Yeah, it was there. It was not no time left because they did have to. Cincy did have to do a kneel down, but essentially was the last play of the game because there was nothing else besides that going on. Yeah, so you thought we were set up for some great football after that game, the Cincy Las Vegas game. You thought everything was going to be great. Then the Bills blow out the Patriots. You go into the next day, the Eagles get blown out.
Hey, way to go, Philly. Way to represent the NFC East the least, okay? I mean,
Dallas,
good Lord.
Dallas is losing pretty handedly to San Francisco, starts to make a comeback, and then runs the ball with no timeouts. 14
Blame
seconds.
it on the ref that bumped Dak Prescott to spot
blames it on the ref. Yeah, blames it on the ref despite numerous of other things that they did wrong that game. And then the evening game, another blowout. And then the Arizona imploding. Absolutely.
JJ Watt's back. Kyler Murray, it's about to be a good game, I thought. Nah, Kyler Murray looked it was just bad.
So I have a couple of observations, right? First, when you look at every matchup and you look at the quarterbacks, the better quarterback won every game except for maybe the San Fran Dallas game, right?
Okay.
Every time it was the better quarterback.
Yeah.
You're right.
That was telling, I thought. And then also something that was, how would you like to be a Cincinnati Bengals fan right now? And you got Joe Burrow and Joe Mixon and Jamar Chase.
Let's say Jamar Chase over Joe Mixon, absolutely.
And T. Higgins.
Yeah, Mixon's been there too.
I mean, you just got to be so
Samaje Perine, former Washington football team.
Yeah, he's a scrub.
Just saying.
But how would you like to be a fan of Cincinnati right now? And just
I am a fan of
knowing
Cincinnati right now.
Year in and year out, you're going to have Joe Burrow back there. Man, that must be nice to have that. And that's the same way, again, with all these teams. Look who's left in the playoffs. The 8 quarterbacks that are left in the playoffs, they're all studs. Except for maybe Jimmy Garoppolo, who's not considered a stud.
You need to all right, hold on. You need to start
Jimmy G slander is real.
First, you need to put my man Jimmy G in the stud. For one, I'm not saying anything, but he's a good-looking dude. He is a true stud. First of all,
he's an actual stud.
He looks too Barbie dolled up to be a football player. Like it looks like it hurts to. Anyway, second, the man has been to the Super Bowl. The man has overcome all these injuries to lead his team into the playoffs right now. After they just went up and said, "Hey, Jimmy, we like you, but we got Trey Lance right behind you." And Jimmy's like, "All right, well, watch this. We're gonna do some impossible things," and that's what they're doing. My man's a stud. He's a stud. He's got more wins and losses than a starting quarterback.
Yeah, for sure. He did, but you have to admit that team is mostly led by their running game and their defense. And it was last year or 2 years ago, and whatever year it was, they went to the Super Bowl a few years ago, or the NFC, whatever it was. They're led by their defense and their running game. Especially that one game where they went into Lambeau Field and beat Green Bay. Oh, no, sorry, that was in San Francisco. Sorry, but it was against Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers. And Raheem Mostert had 4 touchdowns and like 200 and some odd rushing yards. Yeah. That wasn't Jimmy Garoppolo who led them. Yeah. He wasn't so great this past game, especially when he threw that terrible interception in the fourth quarter that gave Dallas a chance to come back.
Bro, he has led.
Horrific.
He has led his team to the playoffs.
I understand, Trev, but it's not a one-man operation out there like some of these other teams are, like Green Bay is. Like Tampa
Green Bay is not a one-man operation. You need to stop it right now.
I'm saying
where's my stats that I had from our conversation there?
He's a stud,
but he's not.
He's a stud.
If he was so good, why did San Francisco trade up trade
Injuries.
future assets to go all the way to the third
Injuries.
pick to get a quarterback.
And then not
Injuries.
start
Okay,
him,
well,
by the way.
injuries factor into whether you're a stud or not.
Okay.
No.
I'm gonna put a pin in the Jimmy Garoppolo conversation
I'll be
just
back,
because
Stoner.
we
I'm
will
coming
circle
for
back to this because
Okay.
we will probably just do a whole video about Jimmy
I'll be
G and whether or not Washington should go for him. Because if you haven't checked out our previous videos, we have talked already about Deshaun Watson. We've talked about Derek Carr. So we'll talk about more of the quarterbacks as we get closer. And maybe we'll talk about them a little briefly as we get into the offseason priorities. This wild card recap, though, I did want to touch on our all bets aside, playoff race and how that's going so far.
Oh, yeah, interesting.
So we are having within our all bets aside, which is going really well, by the way. Check that out on Sundays at 11. We are making picks. Trev, for as bad as he's at Dalla, has not missed on game of the week.
Okay, on game of the week.
Let him
Game of
know.
the week.
Let them know.
Okay. But we're not. Okay.
The playoff challenge, however, is something we're doing
Different story.
aside from that. And those aren't games of the week. So maybe we need to make them games of the week because then he would actually hit on those.
Leave me alone.
Because Stoner is currently leading after the super wild card weekend. We'll get in our divisional rounds and we'll tweet out those picks. But Stoner only missed on 2 games.
Yep, I was
4 and 4.
4 and 2.
I'm
I'm
6.
Okay.
I'm 3 and 3.
What am I?
And
I think you're 3 and 3 also, right?
Yeah, Trev's 3 and 3.
Okay.
Not doing too
500.
bad. We all missed on the Steelers keeping it close. Embarrassing for all of us. Embarrassing for the Steelers.
I mean, what the hell, really? Like,
Wasn't a good idea. Wasn't a good idea.
No.
Angel, thanks for jumping in and on the chat. The Jimmy G conversation, I've put a pin in it. We will talk about that in a separate video. That will be coming out pretty soon, though. So we will be getting out a video on that one, just like we did. We talked about Deshaun Watson, and just like we talked about Derek Carr, where both Trev and I are getting trashed for saying no for both of them. So we will hash that out. For the record, once you hear my off-season priorities, maybe you'll see where I stand or why I stand on one of those. In fact, you know what, guys? We've talked enough about the playoffs.
Get to it.
Let's get to the game. All right, let's talk about the off-season priorities when we come back. All right, it's time to go over the off-season priorities. If you've seen our thumbnail, if you've seen the promo for it, you'll see that we have a couple things here. So let's start off with whether or not Washington should sign Scherff to a long-term deal.
Wait, whose priority is that?
That's yours, Stone.
I thought we were doing all
we'll get to the
different
top 5. We'll get to the top 5. I'm going off your thumbnail, which was yours.
Oh,
We'll go off the thumbnail first. Do you think Scherff should sign him? Do you think that should be a priority? I'll granny shift here or whatnot back into the top 5 here if you need me to.
Yeah.
What?
And and I don't know what a granny shift is.
What
the hell is going on right now?
What is it? What is a granny shift? I need you
Why
to
are we
explain what a
talking
granny
about
shift is. Is that
He's
like
asking
tiers? Is that like levels and stuff?
I thought we're talking about
SATB?
Brandon Scherff signing a long-term deal.
That was the question.
We're talking about granny shifts.
That was the question I asked, and then Stoner, I melted his brain because I made you guys make a top 5 list, and he was like, "Wait, aren't we going to do the top 5 list?" And I was like, "Well, I just asked you whether or not Scherff should sign a long-term deal. You said these were yours."
Stoner doesn't know what's going on.
Quality content, folks. Quality content.
All right. So these are Stoner's priorities that we're going through first, ladies and gentlemen. That's on the thumbnail that you've seen on social media.
Unless you've changed them between the time that this was posted and now.
Look, he's frustrated.
But they are not
in order. This isn't
okay.
1 through 5.
But this in order.
So Stoner, you think that Scherff should be signed to a long-term deal, or is this a question mark that he should be?
Well,
signed
it is
to
a
long-term
question,
deal?
but if I'm going to answer that question,
Answer.
then yes, I think they should sign Brandon Scherff to a long-term deal. And no, I don't care about how much they give him. To sit there and say, "Oh yeah, we should sign him for $16 million, but not $18 million." What do you care what he makes in terms of we don't want to overpay him? It's not coming out of your pocket. So sign him if he wants to be here and you want him here, make a deal and sign him. And I think that they should. And I don't care what the contract looks like.
You know what?
Because it's not hindering them from doing other things. This is not New Orleans where you're $43 million over the cap and you have to make some serious financial decisions. There's $60 million approximately under the cap. Sign Brandon Scherff. He's there. He's a right guard. This offensive line has been rated in the top 5 in the league. Sign Brandon Scherff. Simple as that.
I'm gonna pose before Trev gets to grill you on a couple things here about the Scherff deal. Angel says that he wants to sign Brandon, or the Angel wants to sign Brandon, but worries that Brandon wants big money and that money needs to be spent on skill players. Do you have a worry? You know, I know you said you don't care what that Scherff gets paid, but do you think maybe that money needs to go to some playmakers and more skilled positions than your offensive line?
Go ahead. Sign some big money skill players too. You can do both. What's to say, who says that you can only do one or the other? You can sign him for $18 million, $19 million a year and still go out and sign the number one free agent wide receiver if you want for $18 million a year. You have plenty of cap space. Sign them both. Why? It's not one or the other. Nobody said you can only do one or the other. Sign them both.
All right, Trev, are you on board for a Scherff long-term deal?
Yeah, I'm on board with that as long as it's not breaking the bank. I keep picking up these things. I don't know if it's true or not, but I'm just noticing things that when he's asked personally what he wants to do long-term, he wants to be here. You can hear in his voice. He wants to stay, but he knows it's a business. That makes me wonder if his agent is asking for more money than what Brandon really wants. You know what I'm saying? Because if Brandon wants to be here, he probably has a stoner mindset. I don't care how much it is. Just get it done. I want to be here. But makes you wonder if the agent's like, but we can get you like, let's try and get this and get this. Maybe that's why it hasn't worked yet. So maybe he needs to switch agents. Maybe he needs to communicate better with his agent. Maybe he just needs to go directly and be like, look, I'll do this. But yeah, go ahead and sign it. Get it done. No more. I know you said don't put a number on it, but personally, I don't think you should go over 19, 20 million. I don't think so because
that would be pretty high for
he's injured way too often for that. But I'm with you, Stoner. 16, 17, 18, you can go get all these agents, and half the time you don't need to spend big money on skilled players. You can find a skilled player that's cheap that produces more than that big money player would probably have done too. So, and I'm with you, Stoner. Yes, sign, get the deal done. I don't care what happens, get it done.
Not Brandon even Scherff doing it the show way though. He's not even. I'm with you. I'm with you.
Hey, Stoner, I'm with you, man.
That's what I'm talking
you.
about.
I'm with you.
He's going to get $18-19 million a year somewhere.
Yeah.
So might as well be here because he wants to be here and the team wants him here. Just get it done.
If he has to 21, he can go. He can go.
Well, everyone keeps getting stuck on the number of money. It might not be the money. It might be the years. There are other parts of the contract that are negotiable that could be the sticking point. And those are the parts where maybe we're not privy to those conversations. Like you said, he says he wants to be here. Whether or not that's true, we'll find out if he signs a long-term deal. I'm with you.
Yay, that's 3
right. With you.
There we go.
3 for 3 here.
3 for 3. Sign Scherff.
It's one of my priorities too. Yeah, one of my priorities for Washington is to re-sign key players, and Brandon Scherff would be among those key players. He makes your line better. Why not sign him? This offensive line the last couple of years has been, within the top 10, and that's with him in there. Now, I'm not saying you don't have a serviceable replacement, but one of the things that was kind of exposed this year, yes, we absolutely have one serviceable replacement. The problem that's what was exposed is the offensive line depth, right? Yeah. And so you want to re-sign him and keep building up that depth. You don't want to go from an A-tier offensive guard to a B tier. I'm just going to stick with normal lettering for Stoner, so he doesn't. There's still the S tier.
A, B, C.
So you have an A tier guard. You go to a B tier guard, and then your B tier guard gets injured. Schweitzer is a B tier guard. He gets injured. Now all of a sudden you're dipping into the C already. Your season's going to be in trouble. One of the big reasons why it's important for Washington to sign Scherff is one of our other priorities, which is the QB. You don't want a new QB because a lot of people are looking towards getting that rookie QB, which is our next line of order here within the Stoners question marks. Is should Washington should Washington draft a rookie QB? Do you really want to put a rookie QB behind a shaky line? No, you want to put them behind a line that has Brandon Scherff protecting him. So simple as that. Sign Scherff to a long-term deal. Let's talk about this drafting a rookie QB. This class, not beloved. Right. It's probably one of the worst classes since 2012 with Ponder. Was it Christian Ponder? When did those guys go in the first round? Was that 2013? Was that 2011?
Maybe 11 or something like that. Yeah, when you had Christian Ponder and you had the EJ Manuel for Buffalo. And you just had a lot of not so great. But who knows? You just have to leave it up to these draft gurus to be able to tell you if it's a good class or not. I'm not going to be sitting there watching hours and hours of tape on Sam Howell and Kenny Pickett and Malik or Willis.
Yeah, you're right.
Right? I'm not going to sit there and watch tape on all these guys. I'm just going to have people tell me whether or not they're any good and then figure it out from there, right? I don't know if you guys are going to be sitting there watching that tape and making predictions about these quarterbacks.
I'm not going to watch tape, but I might actually watch the Senior Bowl this year because we're actually in play for a quarterback because, like you said, none of these quarterbacks can go top. I mean, they could, but they're not. Like last year's class projected top 10, So I might pay attention to the Senior Bowl to see a couple of them quarterbacks play and just pay attention to Twitter because you can see a lot of highlight tapes on Twitter. Honestly, you can because there's a lot of good people like Josh Taylor out there. Shout out Josh Taylor. He's very so I'll look at his stuff honestly. But have you answered that question yet, Stoner? Because if not, I'm ready to answer the question.
Well, I don't. No, go ahead, because I don't have like a definitive answer on whether or not I want to draft a rookie quarterback. I don't have a definitive answer for that.
I think we need to draft one of these rookie quarterbacks. At
11, or just at some point.
Is your question
like
for 11
round?
or some point? It's your topic? So what you want? Which one?
I'm asking you. Well, let me ask you this. Let's just address the quarterback situation fully. Rather than just focusing on drafting the guy. You can do anything you want other than Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, the untouchables. Russell Wilson, he's not in play, let's just say. And let's just say Deshaun Watson, not in play. Are you signing a free agent? Are you trading for another quarterback? Or are you drafting? Or are you doing a combination of any of those?
If those four are off the table, I'm not making a trade, I don't think, because those are the only quarterbacks I think are worth you giving up something for your team to go get to have for your franchise for forever. I'm going to draft a rookie quarterback because we haven't done that in I don't know how long, and I like the quarterbacks that are in the draft now, and it'd be nice to have somebody that's a project or that could be a day one starter too. You never know with these guys. I like that. But I also like having to go sign a veteran free agent in the offseason that is on the borderline of being a backup and a starter, draft a guy, and you have Taylor, the veteran free agent, and the draft guy battle it out. Now, if you pick the quarterback with your first pick in the draft, he's got to be a day one player. But if you get a quarterback not round one, maybe not even round two, he's a project.
We jump back into this is something that's been coming up a lot lately. Is with your 11th pick, you take a playmaker, whether or not that's on defense or offense, and then you trade back into the first, like they did for Montez Sweat a few years ago, and then take a QB. And the reason why you do that is so that way you get your 5th-year option with that QB. So if they do develop into the QB of the future, you have that option. One area here I disagree with you, Trev, on is you don't go out and get a free agent QB that is borderline starter. You have a borderline starter in Taylor Heineke. You need, if you're going to go out to, he is a low end starter, high end backup. If you're going to go out and get a free agent QB or trade for a QB, that needs to be a guy that you can count on to win you 9 or 10 games or more. Because Taylor's going to win you 7 games.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So one of these free agents that are available, like a Jimmy G, maybe, or like maybe you make a trade for him or whatever, or Mariota. Those guys are capable of winning more games than Taylor Heineke has a starting, and they've also had starting experience. This was Taylor's first full year as a starter, and he's only borderline because he was thrown into that because of the injury week 1. If that didn't happen, we wouldn't be talking about him being a borderline starter. So that's the only reason why he's a borderline starter, I think. So you got to have, if you don't swing for the fences, get a veteran free agent, draft one, and work it out that way.
So Trev, you're on team draft a QB?
Draft. Yes.
Donor,
yes.
It sounds like you're not on team draft.
I'm not necessarily on team draft or trade or sign free agent. I've said this from the beginning since we've been doing this. I am on whatever Coach Rivera and his staff and his general managers, whatever they say, this is the guy we want, let's go get him. And I'm all for that. If that means it's Marcus Mariota, then I'm all for that. If that means it's Matt Stafford, which they tried last year, if it means trading for Jimmy G, or there's rumors that possibly Justin Fields is available because they're going to go through a whole new regime change in Chicago. Do whatever it is, go all in for whoever that is and sell us on that. If it's the 11th pick and you have the 11th pick and they say, you know what, Kenny Pickett's our guy, but I'm afraid that the Giants at 7 or wherever they're at are going to take him, then move your ass up to the 6th spot and take Kenny Pickett.
Take him. Exactly.
Do whatever it takes.
Yes.
And if it's Deshaun Watson, if the baggage be damned, we're going to go after Deshaun Watson and we're going to make it work. Let's go do that. Give up 3 number 1s or whatever it is. I don't care what it is, but just go all in, sell us on it, and then I'm on board. It's as simple as that for me. I'm not a quarterback guru. I like guys. I don't like certain guys, but for whatever it is, I just want to back that guy and go for it.
Yeah, they need to have a definitive plan for sure.
They didn't really have one this last.
No, they had one.
They
Matthew
tried.
Stafford didn't work. Now what do we do?
They did have one. They did have one. They failed.
And that was it.
Exactly.
So and there was no backup plan. So hopefully they do have something that's a better backup plan than Taylor Heineke. Marcos, in defense of Trev here, Marcos says for our audio listeners, Marcos says Trev said Washington has not drafted a QB in a long time. 3 years ago, 2019, Haskins, rolling eye emoji, rolling eye emoji, rolling eye emoji. In Trevor's defense, it's still up in the air whether or not Haskins can play QB at this level.
I don't count him, dog. I said
he's not a quarterback.
He drafted a true quarterback. No way. And he ain't one of them.
He's a guy.
Good time to give a shout out to all those in the chat with us. We got Skins fan all day. Tommy T, Al Catone's with us. Let's see, Marcos Perez. I think I said Outlaw King already. If I didn't, I'm going to do it now. Rodney Plowden is in here. Thanks everyone who's jumped in there. We'll try to get to the comments as we see them there, as we have the conversations. Let us know what your off-season priorities are. This one here hits on one of mine, which is find the QB. I wrote find a QB.
It's a lot of QB topics.
But then I crossed out A.
Number one.
Then I crossed out A, right? It's not find a QB. We're done with a QB. It's find the QB, right? So whether or not that's going hard after one of these trade targets, which I think that a lot of them stay with where they're at.
Oh my God.
To include Baker Mayfield, who EP'd.
He ain't going. He just had shoulder surgery. He ain't the one.
You're not trading for a guy with a bum shoulder. Cleveland wants to keep him. Let him stay in Cleveland and make his home there. But I want them to try what they did with Stafford and go after a guy. But if they don't get that, I need them to go after one of the B tier guys, one of those, the higher level back, the guys who are backing up players now who have been starters, who can be a starter. I hate the word bridge quarterback. I hate that term because we're done with that, right? We don't really want a bridge quarterback, but we do need that stability, because the QB class does remind me of 2011. I brought that up before, which had Jake Locker at the 8th overall pick, Blaine Gabbert at the 10th overall pick, and Christian Ponder at the 12th overall pick. This draft seems a little bit like that, where this draft maybe doesn't have a true stud, though that the 2011 draft did have Cam Newton. So there's that.
Yeah, you just conveniently left that one off.
Number one overall.
Number one overall.
So it had Cam Newton.
MVP.
This draft doesn't have a Cam Newton.
No, it definitely does not.
This is a bunch of Jake Lockers, Blaine Gabberts, and Christian Ponders, who people are putting a lot of hope into, and maybe they'll pan out, but we don't know that, and we'll see. Now I'm watching Josh's videos, and I'm watching a couple of these other draft gurus, and I'm watching what I can from tapes and stuff to see what I like and what I don't like, because we're going to be talking about the draft QBs as we get closer. We'll probably talk about the Senior Bowl QBs the week before the Senior Bowl, but you got to get one of them. Okay. Yeah. I'm a fan of the option that I mentioned earlier. Take a playmaker at 11, then come back into the round and grab one of these QBs. But it all depends. You never know how this draft is going to go. There's a QB needy teams. If those QB needy teams think that they have the Cam Newton of this draft, they're going to take them. If they, but if they feel like maybe these are Lockers, Gabberts, and Ponders, they're going to slide, and maybe you can jump in and grab Sam Howell or Malik Willis and at like the 20th overall pick. And you just had to spend maybe the first next year and a second or third this year to do so. And I think that'd be worth it, because you can develop a QB that way.
It's like you said, it's going to be tough because there are also quarterback needy teams after us too that might win our spot that we aren't going to give up because they want a quarterback too. Like the Steelers at 20, they need a quarterback. And
they have Dwayne Haskins, just like Marco said.
Noah Kiper just dropped his projected draft. He's got Malik Willis projected at number 11 for Washington right there. Right. Can you pick it? I think 18 to the Saints and Matt Corral 20 to somewhere else. So
why when it comes to the drafts this early, the mock drafts this early, is just pay attention not to the person but to the position that's getting put to the team, because that's usually where you're going to hone in on, and we'll see. Because Washington finally last year, if you look at the mock drafts, they started honing in on that defensive player. Washington ended up going with that linebacker. I don't think they go back-to-back linebacker this year, but we'll see. Eddie E doesn't, asks us why not be patient this year and fill other holes and draft the one next year.
I'm tired of hearing the word next year. That year is here. It's here. We've been patient for 32 daggone years. As long as how old I am, it's time to be aggressive. We cannot be patient anymore, because if we be patient, we will miss out on the good stuff.
Well, here's the problem with that philosophy of being patient for a quarterback, because Ron Rivera doesn't have that sort of time.
Exactly.
If he doesn't win
this
next
franchise
year,
doesn't have that sort of time.
If he goes with be patient, we'll just kind of deal with Heineke and Mariota or something like that. Yep. He's going to lose his job, and we're going to be in a total reset again.
Yep.
They're not going. This fan base and this front office and all of that, they're not going to. I shouldn't say front office. Dan Snyder is not going to allow this team to go 7 wins, 5 wins, and then say, okay, let's just keep going on this path. No, no. It's unacceptable to say we're just going to be patient with a quarterback year after year after year. If you go backwards next year, he's gone. So he's not going to do that. And he knows that.
We're doing this whole rebranding just to be patient. That doesn't really make a lot of sense.
And I think that's a factor too. I think the rebranding is a factor. You don't want to go into a whole rebrand and this whole fresh new deal and then trot out, Jameis Winston or
Taylor Heineke because they think
Taylor Heineke.
We're not doing that
because you'll go from up here where you got the fan base up here, and all of a sudden you go into camp and you don't know really who your quarterback is, and you've got to, and it's just
you do know who it is. It's just not who we want it to be.
I think there's some worry with that as well, because that actually did get floated around this week here. Is that it's not just the football guys looking for their QB.
That's right.
There's some other ones that they're saying, putting the push there, like, hey, now's the time to get that face of the franchise because we're about to rebrand, and you're going to want to put this person who's going to be there for the next 10 years. And a QB does that more so than a defensive end, more so, as much as we love our man Terry McLaurin back here, more so than a wide receiver. Yes, Trev.
Absolutely.
With all due respect, can we move on from quarterback talk? Because
it is time to move on to. It is time to move on
from the obvious. Can we just get away from the obvious?
That's the number one priority.
It is number one. Find the QB is my number one priority on the season. There,
I got one.
You got one, Trev?
Yeah. Does this team bring in a true wide receiver number 2 to pair with Terry, or do we develop De'Ami Brown and in-house receivers? What do you think should happen?
I don't think they're going to bring in another wide receiver. I just don't think they're going to, because they have that money in draft invested already in Curtis Samuel and De'Ami Brown. You bring in another receiver and you're saying, well, we blew it with Curtis Samuel, or we blew it with our draft pick. And that's not easily something that you like to admit. So they're not going to bring in a big guy. Will they bring in another guy that kind of takes that fourth receiver / third receiver spot? Possibly. But they're not going to bring in a Mike Williams. They're not. I'd love them to bring in a Mike Williams. But I just don't see him admitting that Curtis Samuel's a failure just like that. Because you and me and everybody that's listening and watching knows that when they went into the offseason and they said McLaurin, Samuel, De'Ami, Humphreys, Logan Thomas, McKissick, Gibson, so nice. We're going to the playoffs with that, right? But Samuel's hurt. So nice. De'Ami was hurt and didn't live up. Logan Thomas was hurt. JD was hurt. And you had a quarterback who couldn't get any of them the ball in a place to make plays. So you tell me now that you've got, and again, just spitballing a quarterback here. If you tell me you've got Justin Fields and you've got McLaurin and De'Ami and Curtis Samuel and Logan Thomas and Antonio Gibson and J.D. McKissick, I'm ready to go to war with those guys. Yeah. That's playmakers and a guy who can get them the ball. So no, I don't. That was the long answer, is to say no. I don't think they're going to go after a number 1 / number 2 receiver. I don't see it.
Yeah, I think re-signing Terry, and Tommy T brings this up as well. We have to pay Terry soon, right? I put down. I said re-sign key players. I have offensive playmakers. Get offensive playmakers as one of the key priorities for Washington. I don't think that that's a wide receiver though. I think that is somebody for realistically. Curtis Samuel was supposed to be that wide receiver too. Yeah. He spent all year not on injured reserve, but injured. So you didn't get to see what he brought to the table. De'Ami Brown was exciting coming in as a rookie. You didn't really get to see his playmaking ability because of Stoner brought. You just don't have a QB that can get him the ball. You saw some of that when you had Kyle Allen come in, right? When you saw somebody who could throw the ball 40 yards downfield consistently, you can open some of the playmaking ability that is already on the roster. You know, I know, Trev, you're a big Dax Milne guy, right? If Humphreys doesn't resign, if he's not one of the key players that you got Dax in the slot. Cam Sims might go. You can find the quality depth receivers in the 4th, 5th, 6th round of the draft. So I think that's probably what they're looking for as far as receiver. I think that they need J.D. McKissic back as a key player for the offense. And you also need a backup as much. I'm probably going to sleep on the couch for saying this. You need another running back to spell Gibson. J.D. McKissic's great for the role that he provides. You need another running back for Gibson. And because that's really the identity that they want is to just run the ball. And if you're going to bring on a rookie QB, you're going to run the ball a lot to protect that QB.
Your answer is kind of rolling into my next topic. We can just merge into that. Outside of quarterback and re-signings, where does most of the money go to?
Where does it go to?
After you've re-signed Terry, you've extended Scherff, and outside of quarterback, you've re-signed your key players you want to re-sign. Where does the most of the money go to?
Okay, so I'm assuming one of those key players then would be Bobby McCain, because we see a lot of free safety being brought up in the chat here from our live listeners. I agree. Like you need that safety depth. McCain came in. I think a lot of people were excited because of what he did before coming to Washington. He kind of had an up and down season. There's lots of times where we were cursing his name here on this podcast, but I think that with that year underneath his belt, I think that he can be the free safety for Washington. Maybe not a great free safety. He's not going to be, an all-pro player, but he can hold the line. So I think if you're talking about where the money is going to go, I would like to see it built into the line.
Which
I'd
line?
like to see the offensive line mainly. Again, I want to see some depth there in case the with health and safety protocols, with injuries happening all the time. If we're talking about building this around either a QB who's shaky or a brand new rookie QB, you're going to want an offensive line that's going to be protecting them. That's top 10, top 5 year in and year out, because that with those playmakers, with Terry McLaurin, with Curtis Samuel, with De'Ami Brown, if he grows into the receiver that we thought he was going to be when they drafted him in the 3rd round, with John Bates, who was a surprising tight end, started developing as a receiver position and the position of the tight end, that's where I think that money needs to go, is in that offensive line to keep your QB upright.
I think it's also time to go get a semi-superstar stud cornerback, because right now, William Jackson, it's the first year in a new defense. We'll see what happens. I give him one more chance with us. Kendall Fuller, love the guy, but there's got to be better corners out there besides Kendall Fuller. And then St. Juice, who we drafted, can't stay healthy at all. So I think it's time to go get.
I think that's twofold on this. Okay, I think 1, the concussions are a bit surprising. 2, I think you're onto something with the Kendall Fuller thing. I love Kendall Fuller. I think he's great. He's better on the outside. He proved that this year than he was on the inside. Problem is they just drafted a guy who's better on the outside than he is the inside. So I think St. Juice is going to be your long-term answer on the outside, and Fuller's going to end up walking here in a couple of years. So that's going to be the thing.
So you got to go get somebody to replace
or he
Fuller.
Could be a cap casualty this year.
Cap casualty,
yeah,
could be potentially. Cam Sims, do we bring him back? Eddie E asks.
Don't care.
I say no. We obviously
bring him back or you don't. You do.
So if you don't care, then just say no. So just say no then, because we don't.
Yes
want
or no
Jags.
answer. That's all you need.
If you don't care, that's a no.
He's fine for the role that he plays.
That's a no then.
5th or 6th receiver and a special teams guy. You need those guys,
but not Cam Sims.
But why not Cam Sims?
Because what has he done? I know he's had only 4th and 5th, but the man is slow. He doesn't run good routes. He
runs fantastic routes. By the way, he's known as one of the better route runners on the team.
Well, then why is he a 4th and 5th wide receiver?
Because, like you said, he is not that fast. He doesn't have that quick twitch that these other guys do.
Blocking sometimes too was pretty noticeable when they were running.
Yeah, his role is as a 5th receiver to come in and play a couple plays.
Let him go. Let him walk.
It doesn't matter. He's a Jag.
Exactly. Let him walk then. No.
But again, the opposite. Sign him. What does it matter?
You're wasting money on somebody.
Anybody.
Don't waste money on the Jag when you can go get somebody else.
You're gonna get another Jag.
League minimum. You're like
better
Jags,
draft
though. Somebody who's
they're better Jags.
He's a 5th or a 6th receiver.
They're better Jags.
You're going to give another.
Okay, let me switch the question a little bit.
The TV show Jag is better than Cam Sims as a Jag.
Let me switch this up a little bit. Do you think Washington re-signs Cam Sims?
Yeah, yes. Because this is who we are.
You guys said yes. I'm saying no. No, I don't think they bring him back. You can see how far he was buried down on the depth chart. You can see how little that they played him.
But you
can
those
see
guys.
That they will get another guy, Trev. Like Trev's saying, they'll get another guy.
Nathan, I'm with you, but I still in my heart think that because of who the franchise is and who Ron Rivera is, they'll re-sign his butt back because he, like you said,
because he's valuable.
He was valuable in the little bit of time he got. So I think that's why they'll sign him. But I'm with you, Nathan. Get his ass the hell out of here.
I didn't say that I don't want him. I'm just saying I don't think Washington wants him. I don't think they re-sign him.
You're not gonna replace him with Mike Williams.
I'm not saying that, but bro,
5th or 6th receiver for the same
Kelvin
amount of money.
Kelvin Harmon's better. He could take a spot. You got so many people out there.
Better. Stop
if
that.
Kelvin Harmon was better, he would have been suited.
He tore his ACL. That's why he wasn't. You guys, next topic. I'm through with these.
We are going to move on to the next topic.
Kelvin Harmon.
We are going to move on to the next topic. We've seen this one a couple of times, and we brought it up when it came to the draft with the linebacker play. That's my last priority that I haven't mentioned here, and I do think that they need, if not a quality day one starter, they need some depth at linebacker. But I do believe it needs to be a day one starter. As much as Cole Holcomb, did his best this year, as much as I still believe in Jamin Davis as a playmaker at the linebacker position, they need a body there. They need a guy, a stud who's in the middle. Landon Collins came down. Realistically, you're talking that most of the time this team played with 2 linebackers. That's the way most of the league's going because this is a passing league now. So Landon Collins came down, and that's exciting. That's good, and they're probably going to keep him in that position at least one more year.
Yeah, but
you need another quality linebacker because Cole Holcomb, he's just not the guy, and Jamin Davis mentally hasn't gotten there yet.
Thank you. I'm with you. Ron Rivera, Jack Del Rio. Ron Rivera, you especially. How do you go from being a linebacker in college, a linebacker on one of the best defensive teams in the NFL for the Chicago Bears at the time, to coaching Luke Kuechly, to drafting Jamin Davis and relying on Cole Holcomb as being your Luke Kuechly and who you were back in your day? That's just mind.
They never wanted to rely on Cole Holcomb to be that player. They wanted Jamin Davis to be. Jamin Davis wasn't ready.
They need to go get themselves,
which is worrisome because they really thought he was going to be that guy.
And I really think that they're not going to find that stability anywhere else but free agency, honestly, because
maybe, yeah, why not?
We need a Bobby Wagner, bro. We need somebody that just
need a Luke Kuechly,
a Thomas Davis in his prime, a Luke Kuechly, and we need a solid middle linebacker. Then we can use Cole and Jamin as the pawns, and go off and do their thing while we still have our general right there controlling the whole. That's what we need, and that's where I think they should be aggressive too in the offseason. Go get you one of those.
That's actually if I'm ranking them in order, that's actually my number 2 priority.
Quarterback, then linebacker. Yes.
Quarterback, then middle linebacker, then Brandon Scherff, then
linebacker, often considered the quarterback of the defense.
Yep. Keep that same energy you had you swing for the fences to get your quarterback. Do the same thing for the quarterback of your defense, like you said, Nathan. Yep. Amen.
All right.
Hey, I got another one.
My London Fletcher.
Yes,
if we get a London Fletcher, we would be
to the Pro Bowl,
happy team right here. We've gone through my 5. I'm going to recap my 5 for everyone here. Find the QB, build the offensive line, get offensive playmakers, get a linebacker, and re-sign key players. Those are my my off-season keys to victory for Washington. Do you guys have anything else to add?
I've got 3 more, but 2 can be really quick. Well,
okay, let's hit them.
Number one,
nothing's quick.
Do you bring in kicking competition for real for Joey Sly, or you just go with him?
Joey Sly's your kicker.
Yep, just go. Okay. Second,
is this though, right?
Yes, you do have a key player. Got to resign him,
and you can get it for cheap. Is this Rivera's last chance as Washington football team head coach?
100%. 100%.
Oh, now we got to pause. We got to break. We got to talk a little bit now.
As Washington's head coach?
Yeah.
It is absolutely a make or break year for Ron Rivera.
This is his last chance.
I said this earlier. If you go backwards, how can you justify coming back for a fourth year? How can you go backwards, and then say we're making progress and we're in the right direction? No.
So he drafts the quarterback at number 11. He sold us all, like you said. It's Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett is not that good as rookie season. Do we keep Rivera along to see what happens the second year for the rookie QB?
How many games do they win?
We don't make the playoff. We win 7 again. We win 7. We went 7-10 again.
7-10.
Yep.
Did he? 7 is.
He played every single game. He played every single game.
Oh, he did play every single game, and you won 7 games.
As a rookie, you run it back.
You might get another year.
So that's probably the only thing that saves him, right? Yeah, that's the only thing that saves him.
No rookie QB at 11. He wins 7, and you're getting rid of Ron Rivera and company.
Okay.
So
if no QB at 11,
no QB
they
at
win
11.
7 games again next year.
Yeah,
you're getting rid of Ron Rivera.
Yes.
So who's your quarterback? You mean just
whoever it is? It's not a rookie. It's just whoever they end up signing.
Absolutely. Okay. A rookie quarterback's gotta at least get you to 7 wins. You can't.
Right.
If you got a rookie and you win 5 or 6 or whatever, no, he's gone. They can't go backwards and say we're moving forward. No. This is the NFL, which stands for not for long.
Robert Saleh has another year in New York.
Right, yeah, because he only had 1 year.
Okay, you're right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, next topic.
I think I'm just going to real quick. Ron gets this year and part of next year. If next year looks disastrous in the middle of the season,
mid-season,
I can see a mid-season firing or
Jennifer King gets promoted.
Next season. That'd be a heck of a promotion. Cool. Next season, you can see it let go. They're not going to let him go after 3 seasons.
We all said that with Shanahan, right? After
Shanahan had other things going on.
Okay, but he went. Everybody said no. He's going to get another year, no matter what happens. Then he went 3-13, and they said, no. He's gone. So yeah, if you have a bad year, you're gone.
You would have to have a prolifically bad year. You'd have to have
5 wins is a disaster of a year. A disaster. So yeah. So if they go 5 wins and
Trev had 1 more.
Last one.
Tones with me. He gets 4 years. All right. Last one from Trev.
Last one.
I like that.
We're 2 weeks away. Give me your top 2 name finalists personally for the team. Your top 2.
Want or think? It's 2 totally different things. That we want it to be or that we think it's going to be.
Give me the one name you want it to be, and the other name is what you think it's going to be.
All right. In 2 weeks, I want them to come out and say, let's all be legendary. We are the Washington Legends. I really like it. I really like that.
I love it. It's grown on me.
Be legendary. We're going to tie ourselves to our past. We're going to bring in everybody who's ever been a part of this organization, and we're going to tie everything together, and we're all going to be legends together. Okay? That's what I want it to be. For what I just think Commanders has got too much steam right now. So I think it's going to be the Washington Commanders. It's just got way too much steam.
I don't think it's going to be the Commanders.
That's what I think.
All right, Nathan.
I don't care.
Oh, come on.
Yes, you do.
I know I got to play the game. So I'll give you 2 names. I'm just letting you know they could. We've said this countless times. They can be the pink powder puff caterpillars. I don't care as long as they win football games.
That's right.
That's it. That's all that matters.
I agree.
That's all that matters. Okay.
Agree.
Now that I got that part out there, I will have to say I've been really happy to see more and more people get on the DC FC chain. Okay.
What is that?
Well, it came from the DC Football Commanders. Again, I'm not happy with the Commanders, but if they go with the Commanders and they that's our new HTTR is DCFC.
Yeah.
I'd be a happy commander because I've been on DCFC since like last April, right?
Yeah,
so
but not as commanders.
Not as
right.
commanders.
DCFC is DC
Football Club. But
like
I like DCFC. I'll sit there and say DCFC all day. I like that. So that's kind of, I want them to go with something that's DCFC.
I knew you had a one.
Unique.
I knew you had a one.
And unique.
I knew it.
Of course he's got a want. He's just trying to be all, I don't care.
The tough guy. I don't care.
I don't care.
I don't care. I really don't care. I'm just saying, DCFC is cool.
We'll just name this podcast 3 Yokers because you don't care as long as
we wouldn't call them Yokers. We'd be Yahoos, and you know that.
And what do you think?
And what do I think it's going to be? I don't think it's Commanders. I think that there's been too much about the Commanders, and I do think that I don't necessarily think it's an okie doke. I don't think that it's a misdirection. I think a lot of that stuff was just accidental, and I think a lot of it was just kind of people pushing it around. Yeah, part of the process.
All right.
What do I think it is? I don't necessarily have a particular name. It could be Legends. I don't think it's one of the top. I don't think it's one of the 8 that people keep saying are the top 8.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's something that people haven't seen before.
Really? Complete curveball that nobody saw coming.
Yeah. Well, most people, there's always going to be those people who are going to be like, I told you, and they're going to have receipts from like 2019 that said that Washington was going to be named
mine
this.
ready. I got my receipts ready if it's Legends.
Or Monuments. Monuments. We got that one. But yeah, I do think it's going to be something. It's not going to be one of these ones that people think it's going to be.
Before you go, Trev, because we want to hear yours.
Yeah.
What do you think about this conspiracy theory that I don't know that I've necessarily fully heard, but you remember in the last Making the Brand video, and they had the lawyer on there who came on and basically said it's not going to be Red Wolves because we couldn't lawyer our way into that name, right? So it's not going to be Washington Red Wolves or Wolves or anything like that, right? That particular guy who was on that video, he just resigned yesterday, and took a job with the LA Dodgers. So what's the conspiracy on that maybe there was such a backlash at why can't they lawyer the way around it, fire that guy, bring in a new guy who can actually make it happen, and now it's going to be the Washington Red Wolves because they got a different lawyer on the case.
Not with that many. That guy just took a promotion. Get the tinfoil hat off.
That's a conspiracy. Where's my conspiracy music? Do you?
Let me.
Up over there?
Yeah, I forget
that sometimes while he was telling that. Yeah, that should have been going the whole time I was telling him.
Got the conspiracy.
I'm just saying that could be the case because he left. He was on the video saying we couldn't do it because of whatever, lawyer type stuff. And then next thing you know, 2 weeks before the name comes out, he's out of a job. And I know it was voluntary. That's what they say. But maybe they were just like, get him out of here. Everybody seems to want Red Wolves. Let's get in a guy who can make it happen. Huh? You like that conspiracy, don't you, Trev? I see him. I see the wheels turning.
Let's hear it.
All right, what do you got, Trev?
So,
what do you think it's going to be first? What do you want it to be first?
I'm on the Legends train, but since I want to be different. I want it to be Legends. I want it to be Legends because I'm with you, Stoner. Be legendary. Pay homage to the great players and coaches of the franchise. That's what this is about. Community. Legends. I think it's going to be the Washington Hogs because that is another way of being legendary and paying homage to the franchise. Our offensive line was nicknamed the Hogs. We have the Hog Farm. We have the Hog Farmers. Pediatric Cancer Foundation.
Shout out to them. I don't necessarily consider that part of the legacy, but shout out to them. They do a great job.
They are part of the legacy.
They named the
I know from the
thing after the Hogs.
They're their own legacy with them because they're on every game.
Do
channel,
contribute to them. Yeah, absolutely.
With the ears and everything, and then face paint. So they're just they're paying homage to the Hogs by doing the Hog Farmers. So I just think that's another way of being legendary. So Washington Hogs and Washington Legends. But
here's the problem. Oh,
I
so
like your conspiracy theory about the Red Wolves. Because I do agree, Nathan. I do agree Commanders is too hot right now. It's too obvious of a name. Why would they let that go out and then be like, oh, yeah, it's Commanders? Then all the excitement is kind of gone. So I'm with you on that, Nathan. The conspiracy, I'm with the Red Wolves because they were really quick to say that we can't do it. But that doesn't really tie into Legends. Like
it doesn't. They've made it a point. They've made it a point that this new name is going to tie into the past.
And Red Wolves does not.
In this area, Red Wolves is a random animal.
That would have been cool though, just for.
It just wasn't cool. That's
there was no meaning behind the name. Do the Red Wolves for sure, bro. Like that would have been lit.
If this team were being, made in 1930s when it was first set up, sure, the Wolves or Red Wolves would have been great.
Oh, I have a note of names. Remember we were making fun of the Utah Jazz. Like, what's the Jazz?
Yeah.
The lady who just passed, I think it's like Lucia. I don't know her name. Last name is Harris. She was the very first woman to be drafted by an NBA team and the very first woman to score the first Olympic. She was drafted by the New Orleans Jazz.
Yeah, we knew it was a New Orleans team.
Yeah, but then they moved to Utah to be Jazz. So
that's what that's why we're making fun of them. Just like the Minnesota Lakers moved to LA, but the Lakers name. New Orleans Jazz moved to Utah. No one does Jazz.
You got to change your name.
You got to change the name when you move to Utah or the mountains or something.
Change the name. All right. Well, that's going to wrap up our.
Wait, one more point.
Nope, it's not one more point.
I could have made it in that little period of time.
He said no.
That's okay. Oh, he said no. Not one more point.
No, he said.
I already forgot. Why would it be if it's Hogs? You're only hearkening back to a small period of time, and what about the rest of the franchise?
What do we know for?
When you say you are tying it to the Hogs from the 80s and early 90s, that's a small period of time that you're honoring. What about all the guys who came before that and all those after who were not known as the Hogs?
Sonny can be included in the Hogs too. Okay, that's fine.
I know, but he wasn't.
I know,
but he wasn't.
But he's like the only thing that happened pretty much before
the
Hogs.
Fun Bunch.
So like
the Smurfs.
The Diesels.
Some of these, yeah. Alcatone says, with Commanders, I would have to wear a blouse. You got a couple of Air Force vets here. And I will say that I personally, that's why I stay away from the camo side of things.
Is that what that is? Is that what that is?
It's the blouse. The blouse is the top part of the uniform. Yeah. I stick away. I stay away from it. When you wear it, all the time, it's not something you necessarily want to have to wear again.
Yeah,
kudos to those people who do like it, but
would you guys be cool with the Commander's name, even though it's military? Would you guys be like, oh, we can't escape the military? Or is it like, is it like
I've said it from the get-go, I don't think they should tie it to the military period.
I was gonna say, do you think that's just targeting a specific group if they go Commanders?
Well, yeah, but I don't think you can really go wrong with that, because how many people in this country are anti-military?
I know what I mean, but like, I know.
So you can't go wrong.
Yeah, there might be anti-military complex, but not necessarily military personnel. Okay. Yeah, I just think that they should steer clear of the military. I mean, especially
first of all,
like admirals, again, Air Force guys here. We don't want.
No,
admirals.
You can't do
we
admirals.
Suck. What are we commanding? We suck.
Well, you can't use that, because if you use that,
you can goon any name. You can goon any name. All right, we're gonna close the name talk here, and we're gonna when we come back for the cool down, we'll briefly chat about the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. Stay with us. All right. We got some good matchups for the NFL divisional matchup. First is Cincinnati going up against the well-rested Tennessee Titans. Who do you got taking that game on 4:30? So you guys don't have to pick the spread this time. We will do our actual spread betting for our playoff picks. But who you guys taking for this weekend?
This is where Joe Burrow and the boys go home. It's been a nice season. It's been fun. It's been exciting. They set records. Bright future ahead of them. Like, I'm not being sarcastic, like legit, but Derrick Henry's back, and Bengals defensive line is hurting. I don't care if Derrick Henry is 50%, 2%, 100%. It's Derrick Henry. So I give advantage to, and they're well rested, like you said, advantage Titans.
The guy was leading the NFL in rushing and had missed like 3 games from his injury and was still the top of the list. Like, it was ridiculous.
I can't believe the man of his stature is literally a running back. Like, that is
6'2", so he's like an inch shorter than me and just like built like a tank.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. So
he's amazing.
Go Titans.
Titans are 3.5-point favorites at this point, by the way.
Is it in Tennessee?
It is Tennessee. Tennessee's number 1 seed.
I'm picking Tennessee. Go ahead. What you got, Stoner? What you got?
Man, I don't know, man. I mean, I like Cincinnati's weapons, and they are just hard to stop. Now, they didn't just like light up the Raiders when they played them. They only scored 24 on them. But I like weapons. I like offense. I like quarterbacks. I think Joe Burrow's a better quarterback than Ryan Tannehill. I understand Derrick Henry's back, and that does make a difference. If you got him running 25, 30 times a game and pounding on that defense, that makes a huge difference. I like Cincinnati in the upset, I think.
Woo!
Yep. I'm a Joe Burrow guy. Love Joe Burrow. He's a stud. He's an MVP candidate for the next 10 to 12 years, so I like him.
He's gonna be up there. He's probably, depending on how things go, maybe they beat the Tennessee Titans and they move on. Maybe he takes the NFL's darling position over Patrick Mahomes for the next decade.
Absolutely could.
And
Patrick who?
The baby goat.
What was his name?
Mahomes.
I know him. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you know him. You know his brother too, who's dancing on Sean Taylor's number. Continue. I actually didn't pick the game, so let me pick the game real quick. I'm with Trev on this one. I think Tennessee is going to be able to pound this one out. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if Cincy it pulls out a victory here. I just think Tennessee is able to win this game, especially having rested and getting Derrick Henry back. That is huge for them. So Tennessee's winning at home on that one. Staying in Saturday, 8:15, you got San Francisco at Lambeau facing the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay is 6-point favorite.
Yeah. Not betting the spread here. We're just doing a straight up right now.
Straight up right now.
We'll do the spreads on
do Trev's favorite thing, the money line.
The money line. Yeah. I see it, as good of an offensive mind as Kyle Shanahan is, and Deebo Samuel is a stud, and Elijah Mitchell is actually a very good running back. Man, I would never bet against Aaron Rodgers at home in the playoffs. Not going to do it. I know he's lost at home in the playoffs, obviously. I'm not betting against him. No way.
He's not losing this weekend. I also take Green Bay at home.
I'm taking Green Bay by a lot. I think it's going to be. I think the hype is. I mean, week 3 was 30-28 or whatever. That was early. Both teams were figuring each other out. It's whatever. Yep. Aaron Rodgers has figured it out now.
Joe Barry's defense has been looking good.
And this weekend it's going to look like the Joe Barry of the Washington Redskins defense. So
I'm going to get embarrassed a little bit, but Aaron Rodgers is going to be able to overcome that. We'll see how that turns out.
He better play his best game this weekend because he ain't playing no more for the Niners after this. Yeah. This is his last game for Niners. So.
All right, well, let's move on to the Sunday games. We have the Rams at Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay only 3-point favorites at home.
That's fine. I'm taking OBJ and the boys. Yep.
Wow, you're taking the Rams.
What they did to Arizona, I know. I mean, Arizona they had a pretty good defense coming into the playoffs and whatever.
Good defense. Yep.
And Matt Stafford and the boys just exposed them, no problem. They beat Tom Brady handily early in their season, I think week 9 or something like that. Tampa Bay was actually more loaded that week than they are now. They're still going through injuries. No Leonard Fournette this weekend, which is huge for this. No Tristan Wirfs, probably that Tom Brady's big right tackle. Important. So you got Von Miller, Leonard Floyd, Aaron Donald coming to get Tom Brady.
I think they do it, huh?
Yeah, I don't think they got anybody that can stop their receiving core either. Their secondary is banged up. OBJ.
All right, so are you going to go against Tom Brady at home?
Do it.
I would never, ever, 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 ever.
Bro.
As much as I said I won't bet against Aaron Rodgers at home, double that for Tom Brady.
We beat Tom Brady in Tampa.
You didn't beat him in the playoffs at home. Almost nobody has ever done that.
We did it last year.
You did not beat Tom Brady in the playoffs.
And it wasn't at Tampa Bay either.
And it's
come on, man!
Why would you bet against a guy who basically wins every single year?
Because reality
it's just not
is
smart
reality.
to bet against him.
But
I get what you're saying. But also, you've got the Rams have one less day of rest. I don't think that's that big of a deal. But they're also traveling across country. And so they're going to be playing this game on body clock time.
Big time competitive
Sunday?
Disadvantage
sometime
for them.
around noon, 3 o'clock.
It'd be 3 o'clock.
That'll be fine.
Yeah.
You're
So
probably
that's
already
noon
there.
body clock time for the Rams. One
They
less
might already
day
be there.
of rest. So
They
I'm
might
just
already be
saying
there.
that they
I
have
hate
things
when
working
Stoner
against
does
them.
that.
But offensively, I mean the Rams are loaded offensively, and they should beat Tampa. I can't bet against Tom Brady. Sorry.
I'm with Trev. I think the Rams pull this one out for a lot of the reasons that Trev mentioned there. The offensive line being beat up. That's where you beat Tom Brady. You get pressure to him, especially up the middle. You make him uncomfortable, and you can pull out the victory. And I think the Rams are able to do that. But I do think they're going to have to overcome some Stafford mistakes to do so. So that'll be an interesting game to watch on Sunday. Bills at Kansas City, real quick.
Oh man.
Real quick, that's a tough one. I think two of the best quarterbacks in the league, maybe the top 2 quarterbacks in the league, not named Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady, right? So these are your next 2, essentially. Mahomes may be better than Brady and Rodgers. They're all kind of on that same level. That's the game I'm looking forward to the most because I love Josh Allen. And so I'm going to pick Buffalo to go out there and beat Kansas City.
Bills currently 1.5 dogs.
I don't have any good reasons other than I love Josh Allen.
I think it's tough to win in Arrowhead Stadium in the playoffs.
Yeah. You're right.
The Chiefs have found their rhythm here as of late, but they're still like kind of suspect at the same time. You know what I mean? The Bills, they turn it on. They put up 47 in below freezing temperatures. So
yeah.
This is like I don't know, man. Chiefs pull it out in a close one.
I do worry about the emotional kind of letdown for the Bills, right? So they had that huge victory over a hated rival. Such a big, beautiful victory that Washington fans can dream. It was Washington versus the Cowboys at FedEx Field or the new stadium, wherever that may be in the future. And I just worry that there's that, they put everything into that victory that they don't have enough for Kansas City.
I see what you're saying.
That's a bit worrisome there.
You're right. So, they beat the dog snot out of Bill Belichick. And I'm like, Tom Brady's not even playing. Y'all chill.
they rubbed Bill's nose in it with a big man touchdown with the game well out of hand.
Yeah. So maybe they were just too high and they just out of steam.
So I do think it's going to be a good game. At this moment, I'm going to take Kansas City, but I'm going to think about it, see whether or not the Bills can pull that one out. I do think it is going to be the best game of the weekend, and I think that's in the AFC is going to be better. If Tennessee moves on, if Cincy doesn't move on, that matchup really is the AFC Championship game
yeah.
right there. Well, you're going to have to check out to see what our actual bets are going to be on All Bets Aside on Sunday at 11. We'll be back then, but you can catch out some fresh content as always on our channel, on our YouTube channel. Make sure that you like and subscribe. We got videos out there on Watson, videos out there on Derek Carr. We're actually going to be recording a video on whether or not the Wizards should be trading away Denny for one Jeremy Grant. We'll see whether or not we agree with that, because that's been all the buzz here the last couple of days with the Wizards fandom. But until then, next time, be a fan.
We love Washington, and we some die-hard fans. Yeah, we are. You know we keep it on 10. Let's talk about 1, 2, 3, let's go. And they gifted. We are Ref the District. Podcast. Come on now and join us.